Welcome to Coffee Meets Cloud, where three women in tech come together to share real stories about leadership, life, and everything in between. Join our hosts, Karami McCollum.
Oh, I love the voice note feature, y'all.
Cassandra Parker.
I'm hanging in there like a hair in a biscuit.
And Rachel Rogers.
We have the power to change it.
Your go-to source for candid conversations and unfiltered insights. So, grab your coffee, pull up a chair, and join the chaos.
Welcome back to another episode of Coffee Meets Cloud. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm back to my regular intro because we don't know when you're tuning in. It is crazy around here. That was me telling her to go upstairs because I'm not sending my kids to school for a half day. I'm just not doing it.
I almost didn't send Liam this morning.
Now do it yesterday.
I gotta go
today.
pick him up at like 10:30.
Yep. I mean, if he wanted to go, I would be happy to send him. Right. But like if he wanted to see his friends and all that, but they're not doing any schoolwork.
Well, it's the last day. Of course they're not.
Right. It's just a bunch of goofing off. So I'm like, why are y'all even there? What's the point? So yeah, he got marked absent these 2 days and I really don't care.
2 days. He didn't go yesterday either?
Nope.
Nice.
Nope.
Kinley finished her finals. So she's been out since Monday. She had her last final on Monday. And so she's been,
Something funny's happening over there.
She done fell in her chair.
She can't even contain it.
She can't breathe.
Jessica just came in from taking one of the dogs to the bathroom, and all I saw, because the little one, has a little man complex. And so every time he enters a room and Layla is around, he just like growls and just does his thing or whatever and gets right up in her face like he's a big tough guy, So she knows I'm doing this, and they come in and he starts growling and doing that thing, and all I see is both dogs followed by her around in the corner, and she's just after him like with the leash, like she's about to pulverize him into the floor because he was being loud. I really wish I had it on camera. She just comes around and she's just panicked trying to get him to be quiet
because you're recording,
which was more of a distraction. Like I was getting ready to mute because I could hear the dogs, but then when she came around the corner like that, I'm sorry.
It's real life.
Sorry. I know that's not funny to anybody that didn't see it, so I apologize. But oh my god, and I'm tired too, so I'm a little bit loony.
Yes.
Anyway, sorry. She finished her finals. I want to hear about this. I want to hear. I just got distracted.
So they have in Georgia, which I don't know if you guys know this. This isn't necessarily normal, but you are all Georgians, so you may think that this is the way of life.
Mm-hmm.
But if you score a 90 or above in the class for the year, you don't have to take the final.
Oh.
So she only had to take one final. So she had to take her French final on Monday morning, and she got a 94. And so then she was done for the day. So I had to pick her up at 10 a.m. on Monday, and she's been out of school ever since.
That's always been a thing in Georgia, or at least it's always been when I was in high school, you got to exempt your finals if you had an A, but you also had to have less than so many absences. And I don't remember what that number was, but if you had less than 3 or 4 absences, then you had an A you could exempt.
Well,
that's how they get you to come to school.
Yeah.
Well, it must be unexcused absences.
Yeah. That's entirely, unexcused. If you had to go to the doctor, that doesn't count.
We've had some excused absences, a lot more than 4.
Yeah.
Given our situation.
We need to talk about the elephant in the room, which is
look at us, we're just gonna skate right on by it. I forgot that we hadn't mentioned it.
If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll notice that we're joined by celebrity
Ray Charles.
Ray Charles is what Jeremy said.
Good morning, Mr. Charles.
Jeremy's going down now.
Charles, how's your Friday?
Jeremy's going down now. That's what's going to happen.
Mr.
Right before her birthday. It's going to be such a shame, people. When you were tuning into this, we are now giving Jeremy's obituary. It's going to be great.
I'm just kidding. This is Eric Church.
There you go. Thank you. All right. She has now revived. Jesus has saved her from what was soon to be a certain death. Yes. So I have glasses on, sunglasses to be specific. If you cannot
Because
see
her
me,
future is so bright, she had to put them on.
Ooh, she had to wear shades.
man, I need more than just shades, babe. Now, so I have a medical condition I've had for a few years now. And fun fact is I can't look up. And that may sound ridiculous, and it is. Okay, we can pause there for a minute. But anytime I look up, my left eye goes completely out. So it closes and I can't open it, and it's a whole thing. So after a year and a half of having this, they finally decided that I was going to get Botox injections in my eye to help me gain control of my eye. And so that happened yesterday afternoon. And so today my eye is not behaving. So, out of respect for all of you, and more importantly for me, because I don't like the way it looks, I will have sunglasses on today. And then we will be back to regularly scheduled programming and looking next week. I will tell you, if anybody tells you, like Cassandra, hey, it doesn't hurt, bull. Now, look.
But to be
It
fair,
was
I don't get Botox injections in my eyelid
right,
or
in your
under
eye
my eye
socket.
socket. Right.
Right,
I get.
right.
I was comparing it to like the ones that I get for my
Yeah.
crow's feet. They're like, right here. By the way,
Mhm.
I'm seeing myself in this
Mhm.
light. Knows I'm behind on my Botox, so I'll be going to see my
I
esthetician.
appreciate that for you,
Yeah.
but I'm just letting everybody know, if anybody tells you to do these, just be prepared. It's not a
painful.
long pain, but it's definitely not like, "Oh, I got a shot," and then it just goes away. It takes a few,
Yeah.
and, it'll
I would
settle, and
imagine it would
we'll
be
see.
sore in an area like that, not only
Mhm.
because that is such sensitive skin. I mean, it's just such a thin layer, and then you've got
Yeah,
nerves right under
Yeah.
that,
yeah.
right? But
Tons of them.
also, you use that part of your eye so
Yep,
constantly
yep.
that you're moving that sort of traumatized area. Like when we get it just around where our lines and stuff are, unless you're doing a bunch of crazy movement with your face, you're not really flexing those
Right.
parts of your face to be reminded of that soreness. So yeah. Ooh.
Yeah. I took a nice nap yesterday.
Of course.
But yeah, and then waking up this morning, it was better, but we'll see how
Good.
I do throughout the day because, to your point, I'm now gonna use it versus
You
it
may need
being
to
at
take a nap
rest.
just to have a chill.
Yeah,
Close your
yeah,
eyes, lay back.
yeah.
Relax.
So, the good news is, I had today off as a result because kind of figured
Mm.
to be
Kinda figured you're gonna need
prepared.
to close your eyes. Kinda hard to work with your eyes closed. There's that.
I
Facts.
feel a lot of people do that all day long,
That's
and
true.
that explains their performance,
I
right?
agree. I know several people who
So
must work half the day with their eyes closed.
I also, at the same point, like, if they could work that way and get away with it, imagine what I
Mhm.
could do with my eyes closed. I'd still
Facts.
be a
Mhm.
superhero,
Facts.
but
Well, I
yeah.
love me some injections, but not for
Same.
medical. I just think
Mhm.
I don't want to say I used to roll my eyes about people that did it, but I think I just, like any young person with no cosmetic issues, I just took for granted young, youthful skin.
Glowy
And
skin that didn't have any
yeah,
wrinkles.
yeah. And it's not that I mind aging. Like, I want to look my age. I don't want
Right.
to look like somebody who's trying too hard or anything like that. My biggest, what bothered me about it, because I get it around my eyes. When I started getting the wrinkles under and around my eyes, every time I would look in the mirror, I just saw my dad, because that was what aged on my dad so fast. And that's just all I could see. And I'm like, I am not about to. I'm sure I didn't look anything like him, probably, to anybody but me.
But you.
But it just bugged me so bad. And I just felt like it was aging me so much faster than the rest of my face and stuff. So I think, hey, if you've got the means to do it and it's what you want to prioritize and it makes you feel better, why
That's my
not do
thing.
it?
Don't
Yeah.
judge people for the choices they make because
No.
you can do like, if it makes you feel better, the reason I get it, and like I said, I was past due for all this, is because in my forehead, when I put my makeup on, there'd just be these little lines that you could see no matter what. I tried every product under the sun, none of it would work. So I get my Botox in my forehead and my little crow's feet, and it's glorious. It's just, it makes your makeup go on better. And if you, like Jeremy said, if you feel like you want to get it and it makes you feel better about yourself, who cares? Now, I'm not trying to look plastic, but
yeah. That's the same thing though, like hair color. So I know you
Right.
ladies both get your hair did. I do not. I do it like twice a year. But I am, as the grays are coming in. Thank you, Jeremy, for pointing that out last week.
She turned the wrong
I
way and a
know.
little piece of sunlight
Mhm.
caught that little gray
Mhm.
sliver, and I was
I
like,
know.
"Oh, is
Again,
that?"
blinding you with my brightness, my future. But I've been debating, right? Like, what do I want to do? Because I'm in my 40s. I don't want to color my hair till I'm like 90. Let's say I live that long,
Yeah.
right? It's 50 years of coloring my hair. I can't imagine. Like, that just doesn't sound right to me. So I'm
Mhm.
kind of debating, like, what do I want to do? It's a natural process. Now, obviously,
Yeah.
like, if I have like a skunk streak, I mean, I'm going to get that covered up, right? I'm not going to look like no skunk, right? But if it just kind of sort of comes in, I don't know. I may just keep where I'm doing of like occasional, like the balayage highlights, right? So it's not
Just
terribly
kinda
out of whack.
camouflages it,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. And then, as it gets to its maturity stage, then, one day it'll just not be, there won't be brown left in the
Isn't it funny,
balayage.
though, how everybody has, like, a different idea of what they do and don't mind
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
aging? Because, like, when
Yeah.
I think of gray hair, that doesn't bother me at all.
I love it.
Right.
I
Doesn't
look
bother me.
when I see people with gray hair, I'm like, "Mhm." My wife has a huge patch of gray hair in the front. She's got very curly hair, and it's almost like what's the,
It's like
I
Cruella de Vil.
yeah,
Like a
yeah, there's,
streak.
like, characters I'm thinking of, but yeah, I'm having a brain fart, but, yeah, I love it. I'm like, it just looks so I don't know. I don't know
It
how to
looks cool.
describe
It
it.
looks intentional. My problem with
Yeah.
my gray hair is that it's all over, but it's random. So it's not like it comes in a cool way. It just looks half gray and half brown, which is weird. One day when it all comes in gray, I will give all this up and I'll just let it go and it'll just be gray and it'll be
Mhm.
fine.
Mhm.
But until then, my hair, I'm probably the one with the most complicated hair routine of any of the people
Y'all,
on this
I
call.
Yeah.
know we've talked about it
But
before, the hair,
I
the
know.
skincare, the
I know.
shots. I
Makeup.
don't know.
Women have it like, let's just be real. Trying to be and not trying to keep up with anybody, okay? I'm not saying that we're trying to be on the cover of any magazines or anything like that. Trying to feel good about where you are, especially as you age and things change.
Mhm.
It takes money and it takes effort and it's all the things. And it's not that
Maintenance.
you're vain. It's not any of those things. It makes you feel better. But my Lord, like to your point, when you have all the skincare, the Botox, the hair appointments, like the nail appointments, it's all the
Oh,
appointments.
speaking of
Rachel's like,
which,
I don't know what
I
I
don't know.
finally
I know. Oh,
got
that's
mine,
pretty.
done yesterday.
Mm.
But I was humbled and reminded of something yesterday at the salon. Sorry, I keep having to clear my throat. I know that's really annoying.
me too.
I
I
don't
think
know
it's
what's
the
been going on.
allergies. It's
Yeah.
the grass pollen.
Oh, it's awful. So I had to go get my hair touched up yesterday, the roots and everything, and I was asking my, what do you call them, by the way?
Stylist.
Yeah, we'll call her stylist. I was asking her, "Have you guys been pretty busy?" Because this is, like, really the biggest and most most recognized salon in our town, and, they do a lot of, like, blonde and stuff. That's kinda what they're known for. And so I had just assumed they stayed packed, and I said, "Have you guys been staying pretty busy?" And she said, "No, not really." I mean, she said it's steady enough to make a living, she said, "But it's not booming." And I was like, "Really? Why?" This is like the only salon like this in the whole town. And she said, "People can't afford it."
Yeah.
She said, "People are," and it just reminded me to be thankful that I'm in a position where I have a little bit of extra to be able to do things like that because I can remember a time in my life where I wouldn't have even fathomed maintaining blonde hair, you know? So I'm thankful for how we've grown, but also just thankful in comparison. Like, it's a luxury. I think sometimes when you get in the habit of doing something, it's easy to forget that it's a luxury. It's
Not a need.
a privilege. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's not a necessity.
See, and I think that's why I don't do it, right? Like growing up, that it wasn't something we could do all the time, right? And so I
Mhm.
just never, it's just not something that's like, oh yeah, I have to do it and I want to do it. I think too, it's also the way society's kind of changed a little bit. Like when you think about women in the workplace, I remember when I first started my career, a lot of the women, if they weren't with the nail appointments and the hair appointments and all the appointments, right, they'd come into work and the comments that would be made, right? Oh, she doesn't have herself put together. Oh, she, she's slacking, right? She wasn't slacking. She was tired. She was broke, right? Like,
meanwhile, the men just roll in and looking like a wrinkled mess,
right,
and it's fine.
right. And so it was, I remember that. So I started when I got my first job, I did start to do some of those things. I would always do full makeup, right? Like I wouldn't leave the house looking anything like anything else. And then when COVID hit, I just decided that I don't need to do all this. Like I'm at a point in my career where if I have to look a certain way and I have to be a certain way on camera, and that's how you're going to judge whether or not I'm a slacker, then I'm at the wrong place. But it took a long time to get to that point. I'm happy to say I feel like in a lot of parts of our society, people, like it's okay now. It's not a huge pressure to be able to afford in, a formal setting to go get all of those things done. But I mean, all those things done, you look at that monthly expenditure per month, and yeah, I know a lot of people who can't afford it.
Right.
I've been contemplating going back to brown.
You look good brown.
I like it either way, so I wouldn't mind it either way. I get mostly because I get bored. Like after a while of seeing the same thing, even if I think it looks pretty, I'm like, okay, I need a change.
Look, I could do a montage of Cassandra's hair over the years, and y'all would die. I have been red. I have been brown. My hair is naturally what my mom calls dishwater brown. So it's not shiny blonde. It's like this dishwater
like an
blonde
ash.
brown. It's like an ashy color.
Yeah.
And so since I was in 6th grade, my mom started getting my hair highlighted when I was in 6th grade. So it has always in my whole life been your hair is not a pretty color, so you have to go do things to it. Not she didn't say that, but you know what I mean.
That's how you felt.
That's how I felt about it. It's like your hair is a meh color, so in order to make your hair look better, you've got to go get it done. Well, it's always been a thing. I mean, I've gone every 8 weeks to get my hair highlighted since I was in 6th grade.
So to you, it's always been an expense. Like it's been factored in like a necessity in your mind. So like your budget has just always, you've always, yeah. That makes sense.
So to me, it's not a luxury. It's a necessity.
Yeah.
And now it's more expensive because I have all these other things. Like I have my extension maintenance and all that jazz.
I want to say something on the flip side of this, and I hope nobody takes this the wrong way. But what I want to say is like, stop. I wish people would stop assuming that just because they see someone spend some money on a certain thing that they maybe wouldn't do, that must mean that they're just so well off. Like I've heard some really tactless people say things like can't hide money, must
that
be
gets
nice,
on my last
stuff
nerve.
like that. And I wish more people understood that it's maybe in some cases it is a situation like that where somebody's just really got more money than they know what to do with, and I love that for them. But I think most of the time it just comes down to a difference in priorities where maybe you spend all your extra cash flow to travel or anything you can squeeze out. You want to prioritize experiences. Other people maybe prioritize improvements on their home because they really care a lot about that item in their life. And then, for some people, it's maintenance on their body to make them feel better or, having, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, boats or pools or things that are like, what's the word? I don't know. I don't know how you
water
describe those
sports.
Yeah. Or like ATVs.
Like hobbies.
Hobbies. So it's just a difference of how people
spend. What you prioritize.
What they prioritize and how they kind of like score the things in their life and
what
they
you enjoy.
On. Yeah.
It's what you enjoy. If the thing you enjoy is going and getting your nails done every 3 weeks, and you prioritize that.
And maybe what brings you happiness is looking at your checking account or your savings account and seeing a big number.
Exactly.
And that's fine too. That's your priority, is keeping that stacked, and that brings you joy. And I love that for you too. But like, stop making so many assumptions about other people's existence.
Well, the other thing too is like, look at all of those things as hobbies. I think a lot of times people are like, oh, you need a hobby. Well, I read a book, that can be a hobby. I go to the nail salon, that could be a hobby.
Right. Yeah.
You you put things all in these generic categories to your point of like, oh, you're worried about beautification. You're worried about you. You're self-centered, right? That's all you care about. Whereas if the flip side is you had an ATV you were on all the time, oh, you have a hobby. By the way, both
Right.
are single person activities for the most
Right.
part, right?
Right.
So it's not any different. It's
Mm-mm.
your viewpoint on it, and it's how you've been, and society weighs a fair amount on that, right? But all of those things can be hobbies. All of those things are choices, right? I always think about Jeremy, I've met several broke multimillionaires, and
Yeah.
I've met several very wealthy people who make under $100,000.
Mhm.
And the difference is the priorities, right?
Yep.
Of how they do things, what they prioritize. I had Kinley the other day. She said, "Oh, they must be so rich. They go do da 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 all the time," right? She was rattling off things, and I said, "That doesn't mean anything."
Nope.
I said, "All of that could be on credit cards, and they could have $0 in their savings account, and that could be 100% their life choices." Which,
Mhm.
by the way, everybody makes life choices, right?
Yep.
My father-in-law always says, "You never see a hearse with a U-Haul behind it,"
That's
Yep.
fact.
right? So when you go, it's just however you went. You're not taking any of it with you,
It
even
really
if
is
you
a
got it all
healthy
saved out.
balance. Yeah,
Right,
it's like that juggling act of trying to prepare for the future so that you're
right,
not caught in a tough spot when you either can't work or really don't wanna work anymore or whatever, but also, like, to your point, you can't take it with you when you
right,
go, and you don't know how much time you have ahead of you, so you
Right.
don't you
I
need to
mean,
live, but
look at
be
look at
prepared.
Kyle Busch, the NASCAR driver, dead
Right.
at
Saw
41
that.
yesterday.
Just
Have
out of the
y'all
blue was
2
gonna
big
be in the race
years.
this weekend and
So,
just
do we know what happened? Because I didn't really
He got sick. He had radioed in the beginning of May at the end of a race that he needed a doctor, and
hmm,
then he had they didn't say what, he just said serious illness, he was hospitalized and then dead by the
it's
evening.
crazy.
So, but I mean, that's the point, right? Like, you don't know
You
when
don't
your time
know.
is up.
That's right.
You have no idea when your clock is gonna tick. The only thing you can do is be happy with the life you're living. So if you wanna get your hair done, go get your hair did. If you wanna go fish in the woods, go fish in the woods, right? Like, you're not getting that time back. It's that other thing too, like we talk about prioritizing who's important in your life. You're not gonna get the years back with your kids, just the
That's
same
right.
as you don't get them back with your parents,
That's
mhm.
right.
right? Or anybody else in your life. So make the most of it and tell everybody to off. I muted
Yeah.
I bleep myself for that. You don't even have to do that later. Look at me go.
Speaking
Yep.
of, enjoying the people in your life, I feel so guilty all the time about the lack of time I have.
Yeah.
Like, and what I mean by that is, like, of course, you can always shift around what you're spending your time doing to, like, put more focus in another area, but I always have guilt. Like, if I pick that thing, then I'm not picking this thing, and if I pick that other thing over there, then I'm not picking this one right here, and so, like, I think about, like, my grandparents, for example, but I have 2
Mhm,
kids who are like, first of all, I work full time during the week, and we don't live right down the road from them like we did, and so, really all we have are the weekends, but I have kids who are very involved in extracurricular stuff, which you could argue, "Hey, don't put them in that stuff, and then your weekends are freed up." But then, like, what would that look like, like,
And they enjoy
um
it.
yeah, and then I need some amount of recoup time for, like, my mental health and my rest. There's things that have to get done around here,
mhm,
laundry, grocery shopping, prepping for the week, like, and then I go to lay down at night or I finally get a quiet moment and all I can think about are the people I haven't thought to call. Like, I look up and it's 9 o'clock, and I've
mhm.
been
Yeah.
thinking 3 days in a row that I need to call so and so and just check in and catch up, and I didn't because I just kept getting distracted by other things, and I'm like, is this just what everybody feels like all the
It
time?
is. It is. I
I
feel the
think
Yeah.
same way.
I okay. So here comes controversial opinion because that's what I'm known for. It's the only reason you guys keep me around on this
That's her rip.
podcast.
That's her rip,
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't feel guilty, and here's why I'm going to say that. I think one of the differences is we moved away from all of our family.
Mhm.
And when you move away from all of your family, and we moved several states away, you're forced to focus on the people in your house. I
Yeah.
think a lot of times we think we focus on the people of our house because of the activities, because of the things, right, that you've got going on. But when you really only have the 3 people in your house and that's it, like, nobody else is coming over. Nobody's coming to save you. Everybody, this little unit has to go out in the world and make new friends and do all of the things. It really puts into perspective what is important, right? And what I mean by that is when your grandparents were raising your parents, they were focused on your parents. They weren't focused on their parents. And I think that there's a lot that we get distracted by, and we get these notions of like, oh, I should be there for so and so. I should go see them more, right? Because maybe you did have those luxuries. Maybe you did live just right down the street, and now that's different for you, and you can't do that, right? And in your situation, you didn't move states away, so it's still possible for you to do, right? But I think when you take that all away and you say your parents would have always focused on you growing up, they wouldn't have focused on your grandparents. I think give yourself that get out of guilt pass, right? There's no
It's
guilt
called
in that.
grace. Give yourself grace.
Well,
Yeah.
I don't even know if it's called grace. It's just like you're doing what is actually evolutionary, what has happened throughout the years. Nobody has it any different, right? It's never
Yeah.
been like, unless grandparents lived with you, that's the only time it's really been different.
I think it's because we live in such a connected world. I think that's why we feel guilty about not calling people at the very least, right? Because we can FaceTime with people, and like I can count on one hand the number of times that I remember calling my grandparents when I was a kid. Now, they didn't live that far away, and we saw them every Sunday. It was a ritual. We ate lunch at my grandparents' every single Sunday. But we didn't call them through the week. We didn't check in on it. Like my parents didn't call them on the week. You know what I'm saying? Like to your point, we saw them every Sunday. So that was like the one check in a week, but that was it. So I think because we live in this connected world, we have more pressure to be connected to more people, and you don't really have to.
Well, yeah, we have hyperconnectivity now.
Yeah. Yeah. You can be connected to people you haven't talked to in 30 years.
I think what I really struggle with is just knowing that time is so limited.
Yeah.
And, at least my mom's parents specifically, they were very actively involved in raising my brother and I. So
they're more like parents than grandparents.
Truly. I mean, like no matter what changed, in our day to day with, anyway, I won't get into all that. They were constant. They lived in the same house. They had the same routine. They did the same things. It was the same smells. It was the same experience. Like they were this stability, right? And, so now seeing them having aged so much, and I know my grandfather's in such poor health, every time I think like, dang, I think it's been like 2 weeks or 3 weeks since I talked to either of them. My mind immediately goes to, like that last time I talked to him could be the last time I talked to him, So I think, that's where it comes from. Like there's going to be a day where I can't do that. And I'm going to be like, how many other times could I have called?
Right.
And heard his voice or heard her voice,
think like that though.
I know, but it's hard.
It's, my grandmother's not doing well right now. She's the last grandparent I have, but she also has dementia. So she's her, but not her. There. Right. And so I think that's difficult too, sometimes we worry about the day they die, but you forget about the day they may no longer be there.
Oh, right? The day that mentally,
right. She's there, but she's not there,
right.
And
I think it's one of the cruelest things is just, having someone in your life that doesn't know you anymore. Like that, breaks my heart.
It's different, but I think maybe try Cassandra's method. We used to do the same thing with one of my grandparents lived in the same city
weekly.
And so every Sunday we would do lunch, right? That's what we did. But just make it a habit of like every Friday at 6 I call you, right?
Yeah.
And then too, once it becomes a routine to you, then it'll be something, right? And it'll be something that you figure in. Like my mom used to call her parents every morning at 7 a.m. No matter what she was doing on her way to school, when she was driving to work, she'd call them. And that became their routine. So they knew it's 7 a.m. And if she didn't call by 7:10, they knew something was wrong and they were calling her.
Well, now we know where Rachel gets her habits from. Now we know why Rachel loves a 7:30 meeting.
It's because her mom was like, this is what we do every day.
We have uncovered the secret.
I will tell you, though, for your benefit, little Missy, the earliest meeting I now have is at 8 a.m.
Hey, let me tell you. There was a meeting that I didn't realize I had scheduled, by the way, the other day that was at 8 o'clock. At 5 till, I realized when I sat down at my computer, I was like, oh, crap.
Oh, this is my
meeting. And oh, crap, it's my meeting. I have to be prepared. And I was not prepared. It was bad. Okay. It wasn't horrible, but it could have been a lot better. But the funniest part about it is I had a one-on-one with one of my POs afterward. And she said, you know, that meeting the other morning, she said it was the first one of the day. And I haven't had one since Rachel was here. It was funny. I was like, oh, yeah, that's true. She's like, I haven't had 8 a.m. meeting since Rachel was here. And I was like, oh, well, so you're still remembered for the 8 a.m. meeting.
I love how I'm remembered in such a bad fashion.
No,
that was the one that made you.
It was funny.
Work.
She was like, this is my last time I had an 8 a.m. meeting. I was like, dang. Because we don't have them, honestly. But I used to, honestly, though, the thing, like, to give Rachel some credit, I used to work from 7 to 4.
Right.
I don't anymore. I don't start till 8. So, like, starting at 8 is like starting at 7. Like, I just, if you work from 7 to 4 at 7:30 or an 8 a.m. meeting, that's
and the reality of why I got into that habit was because before COVID, we had to pick kids up from school. Right. We had to pick kids up from daycare. Daycare closed at 6. It did not matter what time you thought you were getting off of work. So if I didn't get off of work by 4, I couldn't make the hour drive across Houston to go pick up Kinley and get her home before, and heaven forbid I hit any traffic whatsoever. Oh, yeah. So I had gotten in that you have to work 7 to 4. And at the time, Jamie would work the opposite schedule because you couldn't drop them off at 6 a.m. You had to wait till, I don't even know what time it was. So he would drop her off and I would have to pick her up every day. And that's how we made that work. And so then once COVID happened, it just got really hard to switch hours because I had been doing those hours for
years,
right? And especially when COVID first happened, you had a whole house full of people. So it wasn't even really like, okay, well, now everybody's still in this weird schedule.
Yeah.
So it's been interesting. My new company, it's technically 9 to 5 for the hours, but a lot of meetings do start at 8:30 or 8 o'clock just because, again, you can't really fit everything in a 9 to 5 schedule. So,
right.
I tried doing the 7 to 4 thing and really liked it while I was doing it, but it just reached a point where there was so much people were still trying to do in meetings and stuff from 4 to 5 that I was like, I keep getting pulled into things past my stop time. And so I'm not going to keep getting on an hour early and then be here until 5 either way.
That's where I was at. I was like, if everybody's constantly going to want to use my 4 o'clock hour, I'm not giving you an extra hour in the morning.
Yeah. But see, that's where when, again, we had to drive back and forth to the office, you couldn't do my 4 to 5.
No.
Because I was in the car.
You were leaving.
You weren't getting it.
My 4 to 5 was a hard block because, I could call you, but that's it.
But I think that's where we all need to be better about boundaries. Yes. We used to set those boundaries. You don't set them anymore because you do work from home.
That's right.
It's not, you hear the computer go off at 4:45 and you have anxiety because, well, if I don't answer it, they're going to think I'm not working. And this whole thing starts to spiral versus we used to be a lot better about those boundaries.
I think there is a lot of merit to that because, to your point, when we did all start working 100% remote, this concept of if you're not on your computer, you're not working. So you have to make sure that if you go to the bathroom that, you come back before your computer goes to sleep. And when we were in the office, we were in the office. If I stopped and talked to somebody for 30 minutes, not a big deal.
I'm here, so it must be working. So, that's what it,
that's
kind of the.
And I quite frankly work more at home than I ever did in an office because I got distracted so much more in an office. So I think that companies need to be very careful about assuming. Now, if you're having a performance problem and you go to someone's computer history and they're like really killing it and they're like 20%, I'm working 2 hours a day for the last week. Yeah, there's a problem there. But for the most part, people are getting their job done. Why are you worried about it? As long as I'm getting my stuff done.
Which makes me think of when we were at the Tableau conference, we heard somebody talking about these softwares and these accessories for your computer that make it appear as if
Like
you
you're
are
working.
working when you're not actually working. And I'm like, y'all, you really should just stop trying to game the system, because for
Right.
every game you've created, there is literally a way to discover that. So if
Mhm.
y'all didn't know that, PSA, they know.
Yeah,
They
if
know.
you're that
Your
dumb,
company
they know.
knows. They just haven't checked you yet, but they will at some
Because
point.
maybe you're getting your job done, but
Mhm.
at some point, if you ever have that, they will, and they'll find out, and you'll be in big trouble if you keep your job. I'd be shocked.
If they're worth if they're worth their salt, then they have things. They know what's installed on your computer. So quit trying with the software stuff.
I know.
And if you just have something that's wiggling your mouse, that's not productivity. You're not switching between applications. You can't possibly be doing anything if your mouse is just moving around.
All you're doing is keeping your computer awake. That's all you're doing.
Right. You're not doing
You're keeping your Teams or your Slack light green. That's all you're doing.
But I'm like, am I just reaching an age now? Because these things blow my mind more and more. I'm like, what? People are out here creating what?
I would have never thought about it. Never.
If the amount of time and effort you spent on playing the game, you could have just gotten your job done.
There you go.
I mean,
amen.
Yeah.
You know,
I really
figuring
don't
out. I mean,
understand.
we literally got rid of a couple of contractors for using a website that would make it look like they were working. And when we found it out, I was like, I didn't even know this was a thing, because quite frankly, I don't have time to think about that, because I'm doing what? My job. Like
That's the thing. It may take them some time, because for a lot of people, especially I think millennials, we're not micromanagers.
No.
So we are not accessing resources regularly that tell us what you're doing, because we're not micromanaging your time. But at some point, if you're not doing your job, there's going to be a red flag, and give people reason to look. And then there you are.
That's the thing. It's like when you manage your kids. Told Kinley to do something. She said, but the couch is so comfortable. I'm like, the amount of time you're sitting here and arguing with me about doing this thing, you could have just gotten up and done it.
Yep.
And you'd be that much further ahead, and you'd have that much less to worry about.
Were you in my house? We had this conversation with Liam. He whined about putting his clothes on, and I was like, buddy, you've whined for 5 minutes. You could have already put your clothes on, brushed your teeth, and been sitting here watching TV. And now you're still going to have to do that. And you just whined.
Yeah.
Can I say something else, people? It's fraud. Out here
fraud.
saying you're working when you're not working is
100%
time fraud. You are getting paid when you aren't doing what you said you were doing. And
you are fraud. The Leering Center. That's what you are when you do that.
So
you are stealing from the company. Whether you want to think of it that way or not, that is absolutely what you're doing. And I don't like criminals. So when I find out that people on my team are doing that, I don't care if they're the best employee in the world. Well, obviously you're not, because you're not working, but I'm not going to put up with it, because
there's something egregious about it. Like there's a lot of things you can find members of a team doing where you're like, oh, what? And you cringe, but you move on. But look at me straight in my eyes in a one-on-one or meeting and acting as though you're, and then to find out you're just straight up like, ooh, the audacity.
Well, I feel like contractors get a bad rap for this, because there are great contractors and then there are really bad ones, right, that will game the system. Sure. But because we're working remote, and all contractors are working remote, right? They could take multiple gigs. You could be working 2, 3, 4 gigs.
Did y'all see about that lady?
Yes.
That lady did we talk about this on an episode?
I don't remember.
Oh my gosh. We need to pull up the details so I don't say any of this wrong, but she was high up and a high performer at, I think it was three different organizations. And the craziest part was she was killing it at all 3 of them. She was getting like awards and recognitions.
Yeah.
And then they all found out she had
other jobs,
other gigs, which was violating her employment contract with each of them. So they all, what? How does a person do all that?
It's okay. Flip side. It's simple. You got to remember it's in comparison to everybody else that's there. And look, no matter what people say, IT always has a horrible rap. It's always been known for it's super slow, it's super complicated, you can't get things done, and da-da-da-da-da-da. So, okay, I remember when I started at a company, somebody told me it took 2 weeks to get a custom field from Salesforce. I was like, "What?
No, it doesn't.
That's a 5-second activity."
Hold on.
But
Done.
they had people proven, right? They had people snowballed that
Because
that's what it
they
was.
were the expert and no one else
Exactly.
knew.
So you come in and you show that it's 5 seconds, you're now the high performer,
That's true.
right? So I think it's not I doubt she was high performing in terms of the standards of the two of you of like what a high performer would be.
You're probably right.
Right. But in terms of companies who don't know any better, right?
Yeah.
And
true.
she's, somebody said it used to take 2 weeks. Well, she does it in a week, even though it's a 5-second activity.
Right. She still looks like she's
Skill's
killing
a
it.
hero.
Yeah.
That's true.
I mean,
you never know. And she could have gone into that first gig and been like, man, I can perform 25% and these people will love me. And then she goes to the next place and is like, shoot, 25% of this time and these people will love me.
She could have even been 15 on the third one just because, again, it's all about the talent that's around you.
That's
and we always say don't compare yourself to talent, but let's be clear. In a sea of idiots, when you can be just that little bit better,
not a sea of idiots,
you could be amazing.
But
I mean, that's probably
around.
what happened with that lady, right? If she's working 3 gigs and is considered the high performer, I doubt there's a bunch of geniuses walking around in those locations she's working in.
She had to have had some low level competition.
Yeah,
could be. I'm gonna have to take a deep dive after this.
But there are also those people, like we used to work with one. She's very, very, very smart, like Mensa level genius, right? And she can get stuff done way faster than anybody else. Is that her fault? She shouldn't have to work a full 8-hour day if she can get as much or more done as the next person in 4. Then she can go do whatever. And I've been around a lot of leaders who are like, well, she needs to get more work. Why? Just because she can?
Right.
Well, and also she was still then waiting for everybody else.
Right.
So it's not, just because you have one person that can do things super quickly, if it still takes a team to do it, that person just sits and waits.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
So it doesn't mean they need more work because they're just going to then be waiting on that.
Exactly.
That's true.
I say you value the performance. The performance is the key. Now, if you're having performance issues and then you look at their system and they're not working, there's a different story to be told. Right.
We were Jessica and I were just having a very similar conversation last night, and this relates to the kids in
about
school.
Performance?
No,
about kids.
About kids, because I liken it to this whole thing where school systems have this arbitrary number, and maybe it's the state, maybe it's not the school system, this arbitrary number of days that you should not surpass in absences. And I said,
in unexcused absences.
Yes, but the way they each define what's excused and what's not excused varies. And I just feel like as their parent, if I feel that they can miss a day, first of all, why do I have to come in and justify to you in the version of they were sick that I needed to keep them home? I find
they weren't sick enough to take to a doctor, so I don't have a doctor's note, but they were sick.
I find it a little bit offensive, to be honest. And then like kind of dipping into like parental territory, like you're the school, and I know why they have to hold people accountable, because there's some families and parents or caregivers that aren't like that, and they got to make sure the kids are there. But my point was that I think it should be based on how they're performing at school. So if they are keeping up with the material, they're not late on turning in assignments, they're doing fine on the tests, then it shouldn't come down to just, they've had 2 more days than they should have in this semester or this year. Like, what are you talking about? If my child can miss a day every month and still keep up and come in and do what needs to be done, you shouldn't care.
Maybe the way that they're doing that is because they're having a day off to manage their mental health or whatever.
I just don't think it should be one size fits all.
Yeah.
I think the only issue with that, though, is the size classrooms the teachers have to really be able to advocate that way, right? Yeah. Like, the volume of kids versus the volume of teachers are very different. I think I 100% agree with you if they could implement it. I just don't think they could implement it. I don't think
and
that there would be a high degree of confidence, because even like right now, like my mom is a teacher and a lot of their stuff, right? They're still pen and paper for a bunch of stuff. Like her ability to put in grades, the grades are so far behind the actual assignments that it's really hard to say, like, is that kid still a straight A student or even an AB student, right?
Yeah.
Well, the lag time in that versus when they're taking these days, it would be very difficult.
Well, and also all of these other, I'll call them the other parents who really don't care about their kids academically and just take them to school for basically a babysitter, that would just be like, yeah, I don't feel like taking you to school today. Stay at home. Like, they're going to cheat the system. Like, even if their kid's a genius and they're making great grades, they're going to let them like, I don't feel like taking you to school today. And there's so many parents like that. Many parents like that.
Yeah.
Sad.
Well, ladies, it's unfortunately that time. But fun fact, we all get to see each other tomorrow. Whoop, whoop.
Yay, because somebody's got a birthday coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
When this comes out, it will be right past somebody's birthday. So
someone turning 27 again.
It's crazy how that works, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for decent weather right now. You know,
it looks good.
I think it's going to be okay. It's calling for like pop-ups before, pop-ups after. I'm just worried about it being really muggy and like
it's going to be muggy
because of the on and off rain.
Yeah.
So dress accordingly.
It's going to be a hat day.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Just in case of rain.
I'm looking forward to it. We decided not to stay down there. We're just going to, because the game is kind of early.
It's an early
in
game.
the day. I'd rather sleep in my own bed, so and not have to board the dogs and all that.
We're going to a Braves game. It's gonna be super fun.
I've never been to a Braves game.
Oh, you're gonna love it.
What time? Well, we'll talk about all this off the podcast.
Yeah. All right.
Tell everybody bye. We'll see you guys on the flip flop.
Not me forgetting we were recording.
We're about to tell everybody our business. If you want to see us, this is where we'll be at this time.
Yeah, no kidding. All right.
Except it comes out after we've done all the things.
That's true. That's true.
Oh, well, thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode. We are glad that you were here. We hope to see you next Tuesday. Follow us on socials at Coffee Meets Cloud. Check out the website at coffeemeetscloud.com. And until we talk to you next time, keep your coffee strong. I will see you ladies tomorrow.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Bye.